I thought it was just another normal day, until I opened her phone and saw who she was really spending her nights with. My wife, the woman I spent 10 years of my life with, cheated on me right in my own car. And that was only the beginning. What happened next turned my entire life upside down. I never thought I'd be here. You know the drill, long-time lurker, first-time poster, blah blah blah. I'm not really the type to pour my heart out to strangers on the internet, but after the last 48 hours, I don't know where else to go. My hands are still shaking as I type this, so bear with me. Call me Jake. I'm 34. My soon-to-be ex-wife, let's call her Lauren, is 32. We've been together for over a decade. Married for 8. No kids. Just us, our dog Max, and what I thought was a pretty solid life. We met in college. She was loud, charming, sarcastic in that cute "I know everything better than you" way. She had ambition, drive, a wicked laugh, and this way of making people feel like they were the most important person in the room. She made me feel like that. 4 years. Our life was never glamorous, but it was ours. We had Sunday brunches, camping trips, board game nights, and wine-fueled Netflix binges. We talked about starting a family someday, maybe getting a house with a backyard. The kind of life you build over time, piece by piece. But something changed. About 6 months ago, Lauren took on a new job in marketing at a big events firm. Lots of late nights, weekend events, networking drinks. I was proud of her. I really was. She was finally getting the recognition she deserved. She was excited again, glowing almost. But then the glow started to shift. She became distant. Her hugs felt shorter. Her texts became colder. She laughed less. Talked less. Our sex life went from warm and spontaneous to non-existent. I chalked it up to stress. Deadlines. New workplace pressures. It happens, right? Then came the secrets. The girls' nights where she didn't want me to pick her up. The texts she suddenly had to answer in the bathroom. The way she changed her phone's passcode, for work security, she said. I felt the change before I saw it. And here's the worst part, I didn't want to believe it. I was the guy making excuses for her behavior, convincing myself I was just being paranoid. That I was projecting. That I was the problem. Until the night everything cracked. So here's where things start spiraling. A few weeks ago, Lauren started using a ride service to get to work, Uber, Lyft, whatever was available. She said parking at her new job was a nightmare and it wasn't worth the stress. Made sense, I guess. But then I noticed something strange. She kept requesting the same driver. Like, every time. I didn't think too much of it at first. Maybe he was just the nicest or fastest in the area. Then came the day I was working from home. Lauren forgot her phone on the kitchen counter after leaving in a rush. It buzzed. The name on the screen? Nick oncoming car. I stared at it. I didn't recognize the name. I didn't know any Nick. The car emoji threw me, until I connected the dots. It was her driver. Why would she save her driver's name with a car emoji? Why would he be texting her at 9:12 a.m. on a Saturday? The message preview read. Had a good time yesterday. Same place tonight? I felt like the floor dropped out from under me. I didn't open the message. I put her phone back and acted like I hadn't seen a thing. Not because I was scared of her reaction, but because I needed to know for sure. I needed to catch her in it, not just suspect it. I know, that probably sounds stupid, but my mind refused to let me act on a maybe. So I waited. That evening, she told me she was going to dinner with her coworkers. She had a dress on I hadn't seen in months. Perfume I didn't even remember we still owned. She looked incredible. and she looked like she wanted someone to see her that way. Spoiler, it wasn't me. She ordered the ride outside. I watched from the upstairs window, heart pounding. A black car pulled up. She smiled before she even got in. And then I saw him. Nick. Late 30s maybe. Fit. Tanned. The kind of guy who probably compliments waitresses and gets away with it. She slid into the front seat. The front seat. Tell me, Reddit, who sits in the front with their Uber driver? Answer, someone who's not there for the ride. I followed them. Yeah. I know. Call me a stalker, call me unhinged, whatever. But I needed the truth. I stayed 3 cars behind, no headlights. They drove out past the edge of town. To a park I didn't even know existed. It was dark, almost completely empty. They parked near the tree line. I pulled into a side lot, heart racing, palms sweaty. And I watched my wife make out with a complete stranger, in a goddamn Uber car, like they were teenagers behind a bowling alley. It wasn't just kissing. They were all over each other. At some point, she climbed over the center console. That was it. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. Couldn't even cry. All I could do was stare at the scene in front of me, my entire life imploding in the rearview mirror of a stranger's Toyota. And that's when she looked up. And saw me. She froze the second she saw me. I didn't even try to hide anymore. I got out of my car and walked straight toward them. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't running. I was calm, which somehow made it even worse for her. She scrambled off of him, adjusting her dress like that would make a damn difference. Nick looked confused, like he wasn't sure whether to start the car or roll down the window. Lauren jumped out first. James, what the hell are you doing here? Seriously? She was the one cheating on me, and her first instinct was to act like I was the one out of line. I didn't say anything at first. I just stared at her, makeup smudged, lipstick half gone, hair a mess, and waited. She crossed her arms, trying to take control of the situation. Were you seriously following me? I finally spoke. I saw the messages. From Nick. On your phone. Silence. Then she laughed. Laughed. Oh my God, you're being paranoid again. You're always like this. Nick is just a friend. A friend. With whom she was just swapping spit and straddling in a parked car. In the dark. Just a friend? I said. In the front seat of an Uber? In a dress you haven't worn in 2 years? She scoffed. You're making it sound worse than it is. We were just talking. You know how affectionate I can be. Wow. Affectionate? I looked at Nick. He had the decency to at least look uncomfortable. Didn't say a word. Didn't defend her. Smart move. I turned back to her. So you're not cheating on me? No, she said. You're imagining things. That's when I pulled out my phone. I'd been recording the entire scene from the moment she kissed him. Her eyes dropped to the screen, and for the first time, her expression cracked. She knew the jig was up. But instead of breaking down or apologizing, she exploded. You had no right to record me. That's an invasion of privacy. Unbelievable. I just stared. You cheated on your husband, and that's your concern? She tried to spin it again, voice shrill. Maybe if you paid attention to me once in a while, I wouldn't have to find someone else to talk to. Classic deflection. I turned and walked away. She yelled after me. Curses. Accusations. She even called me a narcissist, after I caught her cheating. I didn't say another word. I got in my car and left. I didn't cry. I didn't punch the steering wheel. I just drove. Numb. Like the part of me that loved her had been surgically removed on the side of that park trail. I didn't go home that night. I parked at a 24-hour diner 2 towns over and just sat there. Coffee went cold. My phone buzzed non-stop, calls, texts, voicemails. All from Lauren. None from Nick, of course. I didn't answer a single one. When I finally got home around 3 a.m., her car was gone. Good. I didn't want to see her. I walked inside, and it was like walking into a museum of lies. Every framed photo, every stupid live, laugh, love sign, all of it suddenly looked like props from a stage play I didn't know I was acting in. I went to our bedroom, pulled her clothes off the hangers, and dumped them into a trash bag. I didn't rage. I didn't shred them or burn them like in the movies. Just methodical. Bagged. Labeled. Done. She came back the next afternoon. I was on the couch when the front door opened, and I didn't even look up. James, we need to talk. No. You need to talk. I'm done listening. She sighed like she was the victim here. I didn't mean for it to happen like that. It just, Nick and I started talking after one of my shifts. He was sweet. He listened. I gave a bitter laugh. He listened? That's your excuse for blowing up our marriage? She didn't like that. You know what? I'm not the only one to blame here. You're always working, always tired. You don't even touch me anymore. I stood up, eyes locked on hers. You lied. You cheated. You gaslit me for months. This isn't about me being tired. This is about you being selfish. She tried to push tears, but they didn't come. Maybe even her guilt had limits. I handed her the trash bags with her clothes. I'll have the divorce papers sent next week. She blinked. You're divorcing me? Just like that? Yes. Just like that. Because the moment I saw her with him, whatever was left between us died. You'd think that would be the end, right? I told her to leave. I started the divorce process. I blocked her number and gave myself some breathing room. But Lauren wasn't done. The next few days were a mess of drama and guilt trips. She showed up at my office. Told my coworkers we were just having a rough patch. She even messaged my mom on Facebook, my mom, who always hated how fake sweet Lauren was, saying, James is confused, please talk to him before he throws everything away. No, Lauren. You threw it away. One night, I got home and found her waiting on the porch. Eyes puffy, mascara smeared, holding a box of old photos. Do you remember this? She asked, showing me one from our first vacation together. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My throat tightened, not out of longing but from the ache of what had been ruined. I made a mistake, James. One mistake. You don't throw out a marriage over one mistake. One mistake. I repeated. It wasn't one night, Lauren. It was months. You lied. You covered it up. You looked me in the eyes and fed me stories while he was still in your bed. She lost it then. Screaming, crying, accusing me of being cold, of not fighting for her. That was the moment I knew she never really got it. She still thought of it as something that happened to us, not something she did to me. I shut the door in her face. For good. I was done letting her rewrite the narrative. After Lauren was finally out of my life, really out, I expected to feel broken. But what I actually felt was hollow. Like someone had shut off the noise. At first, it was eerie. No passive-aggressive remarks over dinner, no fake apologies, no lingering perfume on pillows that weren't mine. Just silence. I started sleeping better. I cleaned the house. Deep cleaned. Like I was exorcising ghosts. Every photo with her? Boxed and stored. Her shampoo in the shower? Gone. I repainted the bedroom walls just to erase the smell of her skin. I began doing small things just for me. Brewed the fancy coffee I always skip because she said it was too expensive. Watched horror movies she hated. Reconnected with friends she never liked. I started journaling, too. Just a little every day, whatever I felt, no filters. It helped more than I expected. It made everything real, grounded. I wasn't just a guy who got cheated on. I was a guy healing. Then came the unexpected shift. One of my friends, Tony, messaged me a few weeks later. "Bro, you should publish this stuff. Like a blog or something." I laughed it off. But then I thought, why not? I posted an anonymous entry on a relationship advice site. My story. Raw, honest, painful. It blew up. Hundreds of comments. Thousands of views. People connected to it. Men, women, strangers thanking me for putting words to what they had felt but never said aloud. I kept writing. Week after week. Until one day, a small independent digital magazine reached out. They offered to pay me for a feature column called After Her Lies. The pay wasn't insane, but it felt like validation. Something good was finally growing from all the wreckage. 6 months after Lauren walked out of my life with that smug flip of her hair and the fake tears drying on her cheeks, I found myself doing something I never expected. Smiling. For real. Not a forced smile. Not the kind you put on for friends to say, "I'm doing okay." A real, honest-to-God, deep from the gut smile. Why? Because the article, the one I never meant to write, went viral. It wasn't just some niche blog piece anymore. A mid-tier magazine picked it up, then a big online platform reprinted it. By month's end, I had a verified account, a 6-month freelance contract, and an inbox full of publishing agents asking if I'd thought about turning my story into a book. And I did. It was titled, The Day I Met Her Lies. I poured everything into it. Every scream I didn't let out. Every night I sat on the kitchen floor wondering what I did wrong. Every "I'm sorry" she never meant. Every "it was just one time" lie. The book sold better than I imagined. Within 3 months, I made more than I had in the last 2 years combined. Not millionaire status yet, but it was snowballing. A small documentary crew reached out next. They wanted to do a mini-series on betrayal in modern relationships. All because I got cheated on. All because I refused to be silent. Lauren tried to reach out again. She emailed me after the book hit number 8 on a list she clearly followed. The subject line just said, "Congratulations. Can we talk?" No, Lauren. We can't. And we never will. Final thoughts, my last words to anyone going through hell. I didn't just lose a wife. I lost the illusion that love means loyalty. That length equals depth. That sharing a bed means you're on the same side. But I gained something more important. I gained me. The man I became after she broke me is stronger than the man I was when I loved her. So if you're reading this, knee-deep in heartbreak, wondering if you'll ever stop hurting, you will. One quiet morning, you'll wake up. The sun will feel warm again. The silence won't feel empty. And you'll realize you didn't lose. They lost you. And you? You just started.